are 3 federal by-elections, yes, 3 of them, that are scheduled for August 31st, but one riding is drawing almost all of the attention. A Quebec seat the Conservatives won by a narrow margin is back in play after its well-known and respected MP was appointed to the Senate. Now, the Bloc Québécois believes it can reclaim the riding, while the Liberals hope Mark Carney's strong standing with Quebec voters will put it within reach.
Okay, Eddie, let's have a look at the ridings that are up at the moment. And we have North Vancouver-Capilano. That was vacated by Jonathan Wilkinson, a Liberal, a former cabinet minister, after his appointment as Canada's ambassador to the European Union. Now, that is a key West Coast seat with a high probability that the Liberals will hold it. Mm-hmm. Then off to Ontario we go, and to the Toronto area. The Beaches, East York. That was vacated by Nate Erskine-Smith, a Liberal, who resigned on July the 7th of this year. It's a reliable urban stronghold for the Liberals. They do have quite a pocket of strength in a number of those ridings. And then we have Chicoutimi-LeFjord. That was vacated by Richard Martel, a Conservative, right, after appointment to the Senate last month. Now, it's shaping up to be a highly competitive, probably 3-way contest involving the Conservatives, the Liberals, and the Bloc Québécois, because this riding, the Bloc has held it a number of times as well over the years. So the Conservatives pulled it off with Martel, well-known, well-respected candidate, and they pulled off the win last April. Now he's gone. However, what the pundits are saying, and others, the Liberals may have a decent chance of at least giving someone a run for the money, and maybe even pulling it out because of Carney's strong profile in Quebec. Carney's likability score is way up there here in Quebec. So the betting is that Liberals will play on that, and they may be able to pull that seat out of the fire. Now, they only need 1 seat out of these 3 to maintain their slim majority. Mm-hmm. They pick up 2 out of the 3. Bonus, pick up 3 out of the 3. Okay, even better. Now remember, though, too, there's at least 4 more seats that will be vacated between now and sometime in the fall.
Yep.
We know that one NDPer is going to resign and run provincially, I believe it is. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember the other one and what they're doing, but they're going to resign as well. One's waiting until the provincial election is called here in Quebec, which will be sometime, I would think, officially the writ will be dropped, I would think, sometime in September.
Yeah.
Because the election is
late August, October. Early September, yeah.
Yeah. So that seat will become vacant. So there's, as I say, at least 4 more seats to become vacant. And instead of pulling people across the aisle, Carney may be able to start pulling them in as elected Liberals.
Yeah, and what comes to mind? I mean, let's just speak about these 3 upcoming by-elections. I am sure that the Conservatives, the leaders of the Conservative Party, the president of the Conservative Party and all, are going to pay very close attention to these 3. Because what is the message, Gary, where you have 3 by-elections that potentially all 3 can be won by the Liberal Party? What does that say for the future of the Conservative Party if they couldn't even pull one out of the one of these rabbits out of the magician's hat. So this by-election is not only extremely important for the likes of Carney in terms of at least increasing the number of seats that he has that give him a more solid majority. I would think that the Conservatives are going to be paying very close attention to see how close or how far they were off the mark in terms of gaining any ground in some of these important ridings. So I think that's going to be very interesting to see the reactions to the outcomes of at least these three upcoming by-elections.
Well, of course, it will depend, too, on the candidate that each party picks as to their popularity level, their level of respect within the community, that kind of thing. Just the name itself. Some names are well known, and the minute you mention them, they're a shoo-in. They don't really have to do anything. That happens occasionally, but in the case of the Conservative who was appointed to the Senate, and there was another one of Carney's little maneuvers to get that Conservative into the Senate and open up that seat. Some of the Conservatives that have come over and over the last couple of months, the way he's done it, like you may not like it, and I don't, as far as the elected members are concerned, switching sides, just even within months of an election, never mind 2 or 3 years in, you were elected as by the majority of people who put their faith in you as whatever member of whatever party. But Carney's shrewd behind the scenes, and obviously he has the right people. Once he picks a candidate, he has the right people to go out, vet, and start working on them and bringing them over. Politics is a blood sport. And as I said, I don't agree with the floor switching. However,
well, this one's a different animal.
This was a different animal. Yeah, I'll just pluck you out and move you into the Senate. And you're there for a while.
But you know what the whole thing is? The Conservative who accepted the position didn't have to.
Right. Yep.
That's the whole point here. He didn't have to. He could have said, you know what? No, I'm going to continue representing my constituents here in Chicoutimi. I've been a lifelong Conservative member, and no, I don't think so. Which goes again towards something we talked about months ago. The floor crossers, obviously, they're not happy with something that's going on within the Conservative Party, and then B, when you have a Conservative appointment to the Senate, which A, should be celebrated by the Conservative Party, but B, of course, it's very worrisome because you're going to potentially lose another seat, and then C, well, why wouldn't this member say no if he actually had a firm belief in terms of the leadership of the Conservative Party and what their platform speaks about in terms of improving life for regular Canadians? So, you know what? Different animal, yes, in to a large degree. But I think the question a lot of us are asking, like myself, okay, he's not a floor crosser, but you're still leaving your riding. Same result at the end of the day, a potential loss of a seat for the Conservative Party. Again, it's like, okay, here's another individual, professional, lifelong politician who's leaving the Conservative Party. He's vacating his seat, not that he's leaving the party. It's interesting times. I think these three that are coming up are going to be really, really important for the Conservative Party, I think.
Well, he did, I believe, leave the party in the fact that going into the Senate, he's sitting as an independent. I believe.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Conservative.
I didn't know that.
I believe he's sitting as an independent. So in effect, he did kind of leave the party behind. Toodly-doo. So.
Wow. Okay.
Now,
I see Ian joined us. Hi, Ian. Welcome to the show.
Did, yes. The Bloc believes the riding naturally belongs in its column because they have held the seat in the past. And if you look at it, a Bloc victory would reinforce the party's position as Quebec's dominant federal voice, which is great. And I have to say there have been things at times that Blanchette has said that I don't disagree with. I just kind of like the way he goes in and just calls it as it is. But really, I don't know if I'd say you're Quebec's dominant federal voice. You're a dominant voice in the federal House of Commons. Because you're really not a federalist party. You're a party for Quebec. And with one ultimate goal in mind down the road. So I tend to disagree with that one a bit. However, one by-election rarely ever changes Parliament one way or the other. It's just one of those things unless it's really, really close.
Right.
But it does change the political narrative. And if nothing else, we have 3 by-elections. And because of the dynamics in this Quebec riding, everybody is saying that this is the riding to watch.
Yeah.
It's going to be the fun riding to watch on election night as the numbers start rolling in. And also, it will be interesting to see if Poilievre and the Conservatives can get another solid candidate to run. And if Poilievre and the Conservatives can hold on to the seat. Because if they don't, to me, that's just one more chink in Poilievre's armor.
Yeah.
His days will be numbered even more so. And especially if their share of the vote drops significantly.
Mm-hmm.
You can make all the excuses you want as to why, but the real excuse, I think, will sit with the leader. And now I've noticed on some of the political panels and even some of the YouTube videos, podcasts I watch, that there's more discussion about Poilievre's remaining days as leader of the Conservative Party.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been talking about that. You recall back in January, just before the leadership review, when I looked directly into the camera and said, give me a reason to vote Conservative. And that reason does not include Pierre Poilievre.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't. Then later, I said the same thing again. And they still have not given me a reason to vote Conservative. And I can tell you, Poilievre falling back on guys like Andrew Scheer, stop. I can't take another 5 seconds of him on TV. I really can't. Anyhow, and what are they doing? When you see Poilievre out at the Calgary Stampede, the rhinestone cowboy with the white hat and Stetson and the white silk shirt or whatever the hell it was, why would he even allow anyone to suggest that and then follow through on it? Why?
Yeah.
I don't get it. Anyway, so that's what's happening. I can't wait for the 31st. And especially to see how things shake out here in Quebec, because that is the one to watch. And that will also tell us a little bit more as to where Carney is sitting now, a few months later, as far as his popularity is concerned here, and also what happens with Poilievre, and what that means for him in the long run. So there you have it.
Interesting.
Yeah. I was just that's why I paused for a minute just to kind of process that. Really, really interesting comment. Okay. So, Eddie, what might our takeaway be this evening on this one?
Our takeaway is this may be just one riding, but it could become the biggest political story on election night.